The atmosphere that we feel right now is 100% perfect for the message that God has given me tonight. He never ceases to let me down and amaze me. Amen. Again, I give honor to the pastor of this church, Brother Driscoll. Love him and his family so much. Love Andy and his family. Been knowing them for a long time. Didn't really do such a good job singing up there tonight. I enjoyed singing. You're going to be something awesome one day. Amen. If you have your Bibles, we're going to turn quickly to Numbers chapter 35, verse 7. I don't intend on taking too much of your time this evening, but I do intend on preaching just a little bit. Amen.
All right, we're ready.
Numbers chapter 35 and verse 7. So all the cities which he shall give to the Levites shall be 48 cities. Them shall he give with their suburbs. Skipping down to verse 11. Then he shall appoint you cities to be cities of refuge for you, that the slayer may flee thither, which killeth any person at unawares. Let's go to the Lord and pray that he have his way in this message right now. Tonight, for your consideration and with the help of the Lord, I'm going to be preaching, tell the king I'm here, and tell hell I'm not coming. Brother Driscoll hit the nail on the head when he said, you've been dealing with some stuff all week, but it's time to tell the king I'm here. But when you're down there, you can tell hell that I'm not coming. Amen? You may be seated this evening. I'm sure that we can agree together today that the day and age that we live in has become one of the hardest and most difficult times for the people of God. Temptation lurks around every corner. Society looks down on the church. Our way of living and our moral guidelines are oppressed on every side. Schools no longer promote a Christian atmosphere anymore. Some young people have to live with parents that don't live for God, and they're the only ones in their house trying to do this. More and more, our leaders are letting go of this truth every day. And quite frankly, being Christian just isn't popular anymore. Hell is trying harder and harder than ever before to destroy the children of God. Trying harder than ever before to make sure that people do not live for God. And one of the saddest things we see today is people get into the church and not much time passes before they are right back into the world where they came from. As soon as they get in church, the hell starts working on them. It paints a magnificent portrait of how beautiful the world is, of how much better it would be outside of the church, of how much easier life would be in the world, of how much fun they would have out there, how many more friends they would encompass out there outside the church. And the sad thing is that there are people that are giving into that voice every day. Amen? People are being lost to this world every day, and nothing is being done about it. Our friends and our loved ones are slipping off by the wayside, and no one is doing anything about it. People who have been in the truth for years are just walking away. And I've wondered to myself, why is it that people that fall in love with this truth so quickly then fall out of this truth? And more importantly, why as a church are we not able to combat this thing that's happening more effectively? I'm hoping that this evening that I can bring a little truth to this situation to the forefront, and that we can leave here armed in the face of the enemy. In the days of the Old Testament, the laws of the land were very, very strict. You see, in those days, it was an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. If you were to cut someone's hand off, by law, in turn, you had to have your own hand cut off. If you were to take someone's crops, by law, you had to give them the crops that you were to grow that year. If while you were borrowing someone's ox and it died in your field, by law you had to give them a new ox. If you were to kill someone in those times, by law, their family member could avenge them by taking your life. You see, in that day, everything was literally an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Even with that being said, for those who killed another in self-defense, the law was still the same, but it had a slight exception to the rule. God gave these people cities, specifically the cities mentioned in the text. These cities were referred to or known as cities of refuge. These cities were chosen by God for a specific purpose. They were designed so that if the avenger of blood was after you, you could run to these cities. And as long as you were within the gates of these given cities, you were completely safe. As long as you were within these cities, no one could touch you. By doing this, God was saying that you may have messed up, but you don't have to die like this. You may have made mistakes along the way, but your life doesn't have to end this way. You may have strayed away from the path, but it doesn't mean that it's all over. It don't have to be this way. I've given you a place to run to. I've given you a place of refuge. Amen. Somebody ought to thank him for his mercy today. The Bible says that he gave him not only the cities of refuge, but he also gave them the suburbs. Why the suburbs? The Bible says that he gave them Hebron and her suburbs, Libnah and her suburbs, Jattar and her suburbs, Eshtamoa and her suburbs. He gave them also Holon and her suburbs, Debir and her suburbs, Ain and her suburbs, Judah and her suburbs, Beth Shemesh and her suburbs, Gibeon and her suburbs, Gibeah and her suburbs. And he also gave them Ananoth and her suburbs. All these cities he gave to them, but he also gave them the suburbs. Why did he give them the suburbs? What about these suburbs was so important? What about these suburbs of these cities of refuge was so significant? The way the law of the cities of refuge was made. If you were on the way to the city of refuge, but you weren't quite in the gates, if you were looking at the suburbs, you were on the way to that city, and the avenger of the blood was on your back. If for any reason you tripped and you fell, and the avenger of blood was on your back and had the sword up high, ready to end your life, all you had to do was call on the name of the king in that city, and he had to stop. All you had to do was call on the name of the king, and the avenger could not harm you. He knew you were going to fall sometimes, and he knew you were going to slip up sometimes, but God said, I'll give you mercy. I'll give you a way. You may have messed up along the way. You may have made mistakes along the way, but I still love you. I still show you mercy. king of that city, the avenger could not touch you. If you just so much as uttered his name, the avenger could not harm you. And once inside those gates of that city, you were completely safe from all outside harm. Once inside those gates, your life was completely spared. No one could cross into that city and try to harm you for fear of the king taking their own life. But if you were to ever go back outside of those gates, if you so much as poked a finger out, if you just looked to see if the coast was clear, the avenger of blood could take you and kill you where you stood, and nobody could say anything. He could cut you down, and the guards would have absolutely nothing to do but sit there and watch. Knowing that, there should be no reason to ever go back outside those gates. No reason to ever step foot near those gates again. No reason to ever think about leaving the arms of safety again. And knowing this, I'm sure the avenger of blood didn't give up once his prey was inside the gates. I'm sure he didn't just turn around and go home. I'm sure he didn't just throw up his hands and say, that's it, there's nothing else I can do, I might as well quit. Oh no, you can almost be certain that he tried to coax his prey to come back outside the gate. You can be sure that he tried to make everything seem safe outside the walls of that city. Just come out. It'll be okay. Just come out. I'm not going to hurt you. Just come out. I'm not going to bother you anymore. And all the while he was secretly plotting exactly how he was going to end their life. All the while he was planning exactly how he would kill them. You see, hell works the same way. As soon as someone comes into the church and prays through, the devil tries to get them to come right back out into the world where they came from. He tries to pull them back out into the world and tells them it will all be okay. He tells them there's nothing for you to worry about. And as soon as you leave, he does everything he can to destroy your life. He does everything he can to make sure you never live for God again. His greatest desire is to see you and your family completely separated from God. We need some people in this place to make up in their mind that I'm not going back where I came from. There is no way I can ever stay back out in the world from whence I came. You need to make up in your mind that I got in this church and I'm not leaving. When you get to the city of refuge, you need to tell the soldier at the gate, the avenger is trying to get me. He's trying to get me to come back out that way. He wants to kill me. He wants to destroy me. But there's no way I can ever go back out there. There's no way I can ever go back where I came. Because I know what will happen to me. I know how hard it was to get here. I know how much I had to fight to make it to this place. So honey, I'm going to tell you what you can do. You can tell the king I'm here. Go tell the king I'm home. Go tell daddy I'm back in his house. But when you get done, when you leave there, you can go tell hell I'm not coming. Because there's no way that I can go back to the place that I used to be. There's no way I can go back to what I used to do. There's no way I can go back to my old ways. So tell the king I'm here. But when you get through there, tell hell I'm not coming. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care how pretty it is. I don't care how good it sounds. Tell hell I'm not coming. I don't care what people say. I don't care if my friends are going. I don't care if my family's going. Tell hell I'm not coming. I don't care what's going on. I didn't get in this church and going back to their old lives. Too many people are walking away from this truth. You need to tell hell, I'm not coming. I know it gets hard sometimes. I know it gets rough in your life sometimes. I know sometimes you just want to throw your hands in the air and just quit. But tell the King I'm here and tell hell I'm not coming. Honey, we don't have time to play church. We don't have time to play with living for God. God has given us a place of refuge. So why in the world would we ever want to leave the church? Why in the world would you ever want to go out there where it isn't safe? I don't know about you, but I have no intentions of walking away from this church. I have no intentions of leaving this truth. I have no desire to ever go back to the world. Tell the King I'm here, but tell hell I'm not coming. I know sometimes it feels like you can't make it. Sometimes it feels like the whole world is against you. But when you're in those moments of desperation, when you're in those moments of uncertainty, you just stand your ground.